On March 26, 2025, an anonymous 16-year-old published a Roblox game about growing carrots. No guns, no racing, no giant open world, no cinematic trailer. The first version was built in only a few days. A few months later, more than 21 million people were playing it at the same time. Not 21 million downloads, not 21 million visits, 21 million people simultaneously. And the weirdest part is that the mechanic that helped make it enormous was not what happened while people were playing. It was what happened after they closed the game. Grow a Garden became so large that Roblox publicly described the traffic as a thundering herd problem. Tens of millions of players trying to enter one creator-made experience at once. The game broke a Guinness World Records achievement for concurrent players, pushed Roblox infrastructure to new extremes, and turned a tiny farming prototype into one of the defining games of 2025. So how does a teenager go from a small patch of virtual dirt to a game big enough to stress one of the world's largest user-generated gaming platforms? And why did something this simple work? Grow a Garden does not hide what it is. You start with an empty plot and a little in-game money. You buy a cheap seed, you plant it, you wait. You harvest the crop, sell it, and use the profit to buy something better. Buy, plant, wait, harvest, sell, upgrade, repeat. But then comes the important part. Your garden keeps growing while you are offline. Close Roblox, go to school, eat dinner, go to sleep. The garden keeps moving without you. When you return, there's something waiting. Maybe a crop finished growing. Maybe a rare seed appeared in the shop. Maybe your garden now looks completely different from the one you left a few hours earlier. That creates a simple psychological loop. Leaving does not end the experience. Leaving creates the next reason to come back. The official game description practically advertises this as the core promise. Your garden literally grows while you are offline. The game rewards you for not playing it. And around that one idea, the developers stacked several other systems that made checking back feel urgent. The seed shop restocks. Some items are rare. Players chase mutations, pets, giant crops, and limited rewards. The shop can update every few minutes, and players can tell each other when something valuable appears. That turns a quiet farming game into a shared appointment. A rare item is not just valuable because you want it. It is valuable because everyone else can see the same opportunity at the same moment. Then there is status. The game's own description tells players to flex their fruits and finds on friends. A garden stops being a garden. It becomes a display case. The bigger the crop, the rarer the mutation, the stranger the pet, the more visible your progress becomes. Progress is not only something you feel, it is something other players can inspect. So beneath the calm music and cartoon vegetables, Grow a Garden has a very sharp loop. Persistence, scarcity, collection, social comparison, and the reason to return later. The person who started it all was known online as BMWLux. Almost nothing about the teenager is public by design. Even after the game exploded, the creator chose to remain anonymous. What we do know is that BMWLux was 16 and that the original version of Grow a Garden was built in just a few days. That sounds like a lottery ticket. A kid opens Roblox Studio, makes a tiny game, gets lucky, and wakes up famous. But that version of the story is too simple. Jandel, an experienced Roblox developer who later helped scale the game, said he already knew BMWLux before Grow a Garden. He even remembered telling friends that this person was going to make the next big Roblox game. In other words, the hit may have looked sudden to everyone watching from the outside. To people who had seen the creator's earlier work, it looked more like the result of someone getting better until the right idea finally landed. That detail matters because Roblox is full of young developers whose education happens in public. They release something, it fails, they learn. They release something else, it gets a little better. Then one project finds the combination that catches. Grow a Garden was that project. When Jandel and his company, Splitting Point Studios, partnered with the original creator, Grow a Garden was not yet a global phenomenon. Jandel says it was around 500 concurrent players with roughly 10 to 20,000 daily active users. 500 people at once is respectable for a tiny Roblox game. It is not 22 million. But Jandel saw something in the retention loop. He thought the game could reach at least 100,000 concurrent players. That was his floor. Splitting Point took a stake, joined development, and did what it was already known for doing, turning games into live services with regular updates. New content, new items, new events, new reasons to log in this week instead of someday. New big studios also became involved as the project expanded. This is the moment the story changes. BMWLux had created the core machine. The experienced team around the game learned how to keep feeding it. According to Jandel, within about 2 weeks of the partnership, Grow a Garden jumped from roughly 500 concurrent users to around 100,000. Within a month, it reached 1 million. And then, the numbers stopped behaving normally. Weekly updates did more than add content. They synchronized the audience. Instead of millions of people checking the game whenever they felt like it, big updates and live events gave them a reason to arrive together at the same time. That distinction is enormous. A game can have tens of millions of players spread across a month and never feel like a global event. Grow a Garden repeatedly compressed its audience into specific windows. Players knew that rare stock, special mutations, limited items, or event rewards could appear. Creators and friends told each other to get online. Social media amplified the urgency. This is where Grow a Garden's quiet design becomes surprisingly aggressive. It does not need to scream at you every second. It can stay calm because the pressure comes from time. Come back before the shop changes. Show up before the event ends. Check what grew while you were gone. Business Insider reported that Roblox creators described some of these events as must-attend moments for players who wanted to get rich inside the game's economy and show off rare mutations. The farming game had become appointment television. Except the television was a garden. There is another reason a tiny game could scale this fast. Grow a Garden did not have to build its audience from zero in the traditional way. A standalone game needs distribution. It needs people to hear about it, download it, install it, convince friends to buy it, and hope enough players arrive at the same time. Roblox already had the audience, the accounts, the social graph, the payments, the servers, and the discovery surface. Jandel compared Roblox to YouTube or TikTok, a platform where something can move from obscure to massive in a matter of weeks. That does not mean Roblox simply hands every new game millions of players. Most experiences never become hits. But it changes the economics of a breakout. BMWLux did not need to convince 20 million people to download a separate launcher. The game lived inside the place those players were already opening. And once players started returning, showing friends, posting clips, and arriving together for updates, the game generated more and more proof that people wanted to be there. We do not need to pretend we know every detail of Roblox's recommendation system to see the advantage. A game that is easy to understand, easy to join, socially visible, and constantly pulling players back is built for a platform where discovery never stops. Grow a Garden was not only a good loop, it was a good loop attached to a distribution machine. By June 2025, Grow a Garden was no longer just the biggest new Roblox game. It was producing numbers that were difficult to compare with normal game launches. Roblox says Grow a Garden reached 21.6 million simultaneous players and earned the Guinness World Records achievement for the most concurrently played video game. 21.6 million. At that scale, the story stopped being only about game design. It became an engineering story. Roblox operates data centers around the world, matching players into servers, handling the platform's economy, safety systems, publishing tools, and recommendations. Its infrastructure is designed to absorb huge traffic. But Roblox explained that games like Grow a Garden were growing from unknown to enormous, faster than the company could have predicted years in advance. The company described situations where more than 21 million users could try to join a single experience around the same time. One independently created Roblox game had become a capacity planning problem. Jandel later told GamesBeat that Grow a Garden's peak reached about 22.3 million concurrent players, with around 60 million peak daily active users and roughly 30 billion plays in only a few months. The prototype had become infrastructure. The obvious question is why? Why this game? Why gardening? Why not a giant shooter, a role-playing epic, or something that looked technically impossible? Part of the answer is precisely that Grow a Garden does not look impossible. Its goal can be understood almost instantly. Plant something, watch it grow, make the garden better. There's almost no cultural translation required. Farming is familiar, collection is familiar. Waiting for something you planted to grow is familiar. Jandel argued that this theme is almost universal. Humans have spent thousands of years growing things, and people enjoy watching progress become visible. But theme alone cannot explain the scale. The more important answer is that the game systems reinforce each other. Offline growth creates returns. Restocks create scarcity. Rare items create collection. Visible gardens create status. Live events create urgency. Roblox provides distribution. None of those ideas is revolutionary by itself. Together, they are extremely difficult to ignore. And because the game is easy to understand, every viral clip works like an advertisement. A giant fruit, a rare mutation, a ridiculous garden, a player discovering that a valuable seed is in stock. You can understand the point before anyone explains the rules. The game is not fighting for attention by becoming more complicated. It wins by making the reward obvious. Of course, enormous attention becomes enormous business. Grow a Garden is free to play, but players can spend Robux to accelerate parts of the experience and buy advantages or items. A secondary market for rare in-game goods even appeared outside Roblox, despite third-party sales violating Roblox's rules. What we do not know is exactly how much BMWLux personally earned, or the exact revenue of Grow a Garden. Those numbers have not been publicly disclosed in a reliable way, and we do not need to invent them to understand the scale. Roblox's own financial reports show how large its creator economy has become. In the first quarter of 2026 alone, Roblox recorded $423 million in developer exchange fees, the system through which eligible creators receive real-world payouts from earned Robux. That is one quarter. The point is not that all of that money went to Grow a Garden. It did not. The point is that BMWLux built inside an ecosystem where a teenager can move from player to developer to owner of a stake in a product serving tens of millions of people. That is a very different path into the game's business from getting hired by a traditional studio. The same systems that made Grow a Garden effective also created criticism. Some players loved the low-stress routine. Others saw a machine built around scarcity, frequent check-ins, and spending. Business Insider reported criticism that later studio involvement pushed the game harder toward monetization, while players and creators debated whether its simplicity was relaxing or just an extremely efficient dopamine loop. Both reactions can be true. A mechanic can be soothing and commercially powerful at the same time. The global seed shop can create community when friends alert each other that something rare is available. The exact same system can create fear of missing out. Offline growth can make the game feel forgiving because you do not need to grind constantly. It also makes the game live in your head after you close it. That tension is not a flaw in the story. It is the story. Grow a Garden became enormous because it understood how little friction a modern game needs between curiosity, reward, and return. And then, something important happened. Grow a Garden's record was beaten. Later in 2025, another Roblox phenomenon, Steal a Brainrot, passed 25 million concurrent users, according to Roblox. At first, that sounds like it makes Grow a Garden less impressive. It does the opposite. Before Grow a Garden, 21 million people inside one Roblox experience sounded absurd. After Grow a Garden, the ceiling had moved. The platform had proved that a creator-made game could reach a scale normally associated with the largest entertainment properties on Earth. And once one game showed that the audience existed, another game reached even higher. That is the more important legacy. The easiest version of this story is that a 16-year-old got lucky. The harder version is more interesting. A young developer built a simple prototype quickly. The prototype contained one unusually strong idea: a world that kept progressing after the player left. An experienced developer recognized the signal early. A team turned it into a live service. Scarcity, social status, updates, and Roblox's distribution compounded on top of each other. And within months, a game about carrots was forcing a billion-dollar platform to think differently about capacity. BMWLux stayed anonymous. Jandel says the original creator remained involved, kept a percentage of the game, and continued contributing ideas even after the project became enormous. That may be the strangest part of Roblox. The distance between some kid making a game and one of the biggest games in the world can be unbelievably short. Not easy, not predictable, just short. Somewhere on Roblox right now, there's probably another game with 500 players, maybe 50, maybe none. It probably looks unfinished. It probably looks too simple, and almost everyone scrolling past it has no idea what it could become. Grow a Garden started that way too. Small.